Lil Peep is definitely one of the most well-known rappers to ever come out of the SoundCloud wave. He's known around the globe for his otherworldly vocals alongside his genre-defining music. But despite his music being so well-known, his life story is less so. And yes, I do know there's a documentary made about his supposed life story, but that was heavily biased, so we can't really take that as concrete fact. But luckily for us, a dedicated group of Peep's fans have come together to research some of the more obscure facts about his life, including a couple issues that he had with other rappers during his time on this earth. Now, this video is not made to paint him in a bad light or tear down his legacy or anything like that. It's just here to shine a light on a little bit more lesser known facts about Peep. So without further ado, let's look into the many beefs of Lil Peep. I'm counting back to Lil Peep. Now the first of these beefs is the most well known of them all, and that's the issues that Lil Peep had with Mask The Slump God. Now for context, Lil Tracy, XXXTentacion, and Mask The Slump God all were friends in 2016, even performing a couple shows together before Tracy ever linked up with Lil Peep. And it was because of this that Mask The Slump God would go visit Lil Tracy after X got locked up. At the time, Peep had a house in LA where he was living with a couple other members of the Goth Boy clique, including Lil Tracy. So when Ski Mask came to see Lil Tracy, he would also meet up with the rest of the Goth Boy clique. It seems like Lil Peep, Tracy, and Ski were all getting along well because they made a track called New World Order that they would then post on SoundCloud later that night. But things took a bad turn after Ski Mask left the house for a little bit to go hang out with some friends, and when he came back, some of his clothes were actually missing out of his bag, and this is because Young Goth actually decided to steal a couple of them, but Ski didn't initially notice this. He only noticed this after he left the house and got on the plane and decided to tweet about the situation soon after, telling people that he wanted to beat the ass of whoever took his stuff, directing a lot of his anger towards Lil Peep because he was the owner of the house and he thought that he was the one responsible for taking his stuff. And things didn't end there either, because soon after, Ski would post a video of himself on Instagram dissing Lil Peep even further, holding absolutely nothing back. He called Peep a junkie, said he snorted heroin and ketamine, said he humped his friends, and also said he would never work with him again, but he would stay friends with Lil Tracy.
It's okay, nigga. It's okay though. It's okay. Y'all broke ass nigga, and you a pedophile. Fuck ass boy. I fuck with Tracy though. Shout out to Tracy, shout out to Dre. Fuck the rest of them niggas. They some thieves. I ain't gonna do shit myself. I ain't going to jail. Fuck them niggas. Fuck ass boys. Fuck ass. Fuck Lil Peep. You trash. Lil Peep, tell them how y'all hump each other. Tell them how y'all hump each other and say y'all playing. Tell them how y'all sniff ketamine. Tell them how y'all sniff ketamine and do heroin.
He even doubled down on that by taking Peep's name off of the song they made together. Peep never responded to this, and the beef went cold until January 23rd of 2017 when Ski and Peep randomly went live in a studio together. Yes, that's right. In early 2017, Lil Peep and Mask The Slump God actually went live together in the studio. Now, this live stream has been lost to history, so we don't really know what happened during it, but we do have this one picture to confirm it did happen. Despite not having a whole lot of context around the situation, we can probably confirm that they must have been on somewhat good terms or they wouldn't be taking pictures and going live together. And you would think that'd be the end of the issues the two had with each other, but in late 2017, Peep randomly decided to tweet about Ski Mask saying that he called him the F slur. Ski Mask then responded saying he was Jamaican and raised different. And the beef basically ended right there because soon after, Peep passed away, and after that, Ski Mask never really had anything else bad to say about Peep, calling him a legend in interviews after that point.
Lil Peep has been special. Lil Peep been special. I knew Lil Peep since like I slept at Lil Peep's house. Like me and Lil Peep went through beef, like a lot of shit. Like Lil Peep has been special. Lil Peep's been fire.
And I know a lot of people would call this fake on Ski Mask's part, but at least he showed respect to Peep after he passed away. As you'll soon see, not every rapper gave Peep so much respect. And another question that many have asked is, why did Peep decide to go after Ski Mask so far after their beef had already ended? Well, it seems like in the last few days of Peep's life, he was a totally different person. All the drugs that he was taking combined with the negative feelings he had led him to lash out quite a bit, which once again will become a running trend throughout the rest of this video. But with that said, let's move on to the next. So now that you're aware of the issues that Ski and Peep had throughout most of Peep's life, you would also assume that Ski's best friend X would also have problems with Peep as well. And that's kind of true, but as you can see in this DJ Academics live stream, X never really had any personal problems with Peep.
Ski had beef with Lil Peep back in the day, and that's why I had never co-signed him, I never talked to him, I would never do anything with him. But we had similar friends, we knew similar people, and all I would hear was good things about him. But due to my loyalty to Ski, I would not fuck with bro.
He only really stayed away from him because of his loyalty to his brother Ski. And that's probably why X decided to hop on the remix of Falling Down after Peep's passing, because he never really had actual issues with the guy. And of course, after somebody passes away, all the problems you have with them definitely seem minute. But now the other side of things, the issues that Peep had with X are a little bit more hotly contested. Now there's two sides of the story. There's the Fish Narc story and the Fat Nick story. Now Fish Narc says that Peep never really liked X because of the story he told on No Jumper where he talked about beating up a gay man in prison.
The gay guy in jail. That sounds fucking crazy.
All I know is when he came out that room, the gay nigga was bleeding from out the top of his head, bro. He was just sitting there smiling at me like.
And seeing as how Peep was bisexual, he saw this as a hate crime and decided to take all of his music off of any playlist that also had X's music on it.
He explicitly rejected Triple X for his abuse of women, spent time and money getting Triple X's songs removed from his Spotify playlist, and wouldn't have co-signed that song.
On Fat Nick's side of the story, he said that Peep never really had any problems with XXXTentacion besides what the media had told him.
I talked to Gus, like 5 days before he passed, in my house. We went out the next day to some fucking bar thing. We talked about X, right? Did he disagree with some shit that that X did? Yeah, and we talked about it. And I was like, yo, check it. We get back off tour, because it was like a week left of tour. Come down, because he wanted to go jet skiing and work on music, and then we were going to go to London. And I was like, all right, cool, come down, and then we'll go to fucking X's house, and we'll all talk.
So being friends with both X and Pete, Fat Nick decided to set up a meeting between them in 2018, but unfortunately Pete passed away before it could ever happen. And with the bad reputation that Fat Nick has, many have decided to take Fishnark's side of the story as the true story, but there's actually some evidence that proves that maybe Pete didn't really have any problems with X in the first place. Now the first piece of evidence I have here is Lil Peep actually performed at a DJ set where Look At Me was being played.
I give her dick shit, man.
This was actually meant to be a Ski Mask show, but he couldn't make it for whatever reason, so the Goth Boy Clique decided to fill in for him. Now I already know that people are going to say that maybe Peep wasn't aware that that was an X song, or he just played along because he didn't want to ruin the show for everyone else involved, but I do have a second piece of evidence here. This is a comment that Lil Peep left under one of Lil Tracy's live streams, and I'm not here to sway you one way or the other, and I'm sure this can be taken in any context you want, so let me know in the comments below. Are you Team Fishnark or Team Fat Nick? Next up we got the issues between Lil Peep and Lil Tracy, and if you don't already know, I already made a video on the Ski Mask beef and the Lil Tracy beef in the past, but I now have more information about it, so I want to do a better job here. So for those of you unaware, Lil Tracy and Lil Peep made a lot of music together during 2016 and 2017, including 2 tracks called Witchblades and White Wine. These 2 songs in particular got the attention of online publications who started to call Lil Peep the future of emo rap while leaving Lil Tracy as a footnote. And of course that made Lil Tracy upset, as it would anybody, but that's not all there is to the story, because First Access Entertainment, Lil Peep's label, was actually trying to form a wedge between the two for quite a while. You see, for a time in Lil Tracy's life, he was actually homeless, and he would often stay at Lil Peep's house to try to stay out of the cold, but once Peep's label became aware of that, they actually decided to kick him back out onto the street, and Peep didn't do anything about it. And you would think that'd be enough to destroy their friendship once and for all, but the straw that broke the camel's back was actually when Peep went on a European tour without Tracy and performed Witchblades to a huge audience. And when Tracy saw that, that was the end of their friendship once and for all. Now, at first, Tracy didn't really say anything publicly about the situation, but in DMs, he was going after Peep, saying he was actually going to beat his ass. However, despite that, the two still performed together in the Peep Show tour during May of that year. The final time the two did a show together was at a SoundCloud promo event where Lil Peep came out as a special guest and performed 2 songs with Lil Tracy. Seems like by August of 2017 some more friction was building, but despite that they still appeared together to record the Awful Things music video. After that things went quiet for about a month besides this one video of Lil Tracy and Lil Raven laughing at something that Lil Peep posted online.
I thought that was always big.
Mobile glass shop, head ass.
About to bake another one, on baby.
Oh baby.
Like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s son.
That silence didn't last long because 1 month later Awful Things would drop officially and Lil Tracy went absolutely crazy. The song did chart and was doing great overall, but Lil Tracy was not happy. He started going after Goth Boy Clique members, said the song was trash, and asked to be taken off of all Lil Peep's songs. Lil Peep did attempt to wish Lil Tracy a happy birthday, but he ignored the text, and that exact same day Lil Tracy actually went on the No Jumper podcast and spoke a little bit more on the split.
Yeah. So let's just throw this out there. When did things start to go wrong between the Lil Peep / Lil Tracy best friends forever relationship that you guys had for a while?
Well, I would say when it's just like me, I just can't be like a shadow.
He didn't really diss Lil Peep in this interview. He just said he didn't want to be in his shadow anymore and he wasn't going to work with him in the future. A few days after that, Lil Peep was spotted at a meet and greet where a fan asked about Lil Tracy, and Lil Peep said that Lil Tracy needed to get a life.
Yeah, tell Tracy to get a passport.
Tell Tracy to get a life.
Yeah, tell Tracy to get a life.
After that, the two stopped talking about each other and stopped talking to each other in any form, but it seems like Lil Tracy actually had a bit of a change of heart because he did try to go see Lil Peep on the Come Over When You're Sober tour. Despite that though, once again First Access Entertainment would not let him go, so he was never able to see his brother again before he passed away. And of course, after Peep's passing, Tracy was completely heartbroken, seen distraught, singing at a show and crying along to Peep's lyrics. And of course, he also went crazy on a bunch of other people on Instagram, but that's a whole nother video for another day. After the dust settled, Tracy heavily regretted the beef with Peep, and he even dedicated 2 of his future albums to Peep, as well as singing about him in many of his songs. Because of course, at the end of the day, the two of them were brothers, and no beef could ever tear them apart. Next up, we got the beef that Peep had with Black Bear, and a big shout out to Too Busy Balling for helping me on this video. He helped me get a lot of information, but despite that, we weren't able to totally agree on this topic. Mostly because a lot of the information about this beef came out after Peep passed away, so we don't know exactly when it started because a lot of it was just in DMs. It seems like this beef is either over Peep being mad at Black Bear for stealing his style, or the two of them beefing over a girl. Since Peep has passed away, we only really have Black Bear's version of the story, so that's the only version I can tell. So Bear claims that Peep used to be a big fan of him back in 2015, even asking him to do a song, but he never ended up responding to Peep.
He's like, I don't know who you are, blah, blah, blah. I was like, scroll up. You said hey to me like in 2015.
He claims that he only became aware of Peep in 2017 when Peep started to date Bella Thorne, who was Black Bear's on-again, off-again girlfriend.
And it was all because I unfollowed the girl that he's seeing that I was seeing on and off for like 6 years. He
clearly got under Black Bear's skin, but he didn't really say anything on the topic until late 2017 when people post a picture of him and his then girlfriend, not Bella Thorne, a different girl, and then Black Bear would comment unfollowed. It's pretty clear that Peep was really pissed off about this situation because he would then message Black Bear claiming he was going to beat his ass before then making the messages public and claiming that Black Bear was homophobic. He then followed that up with a couple Instagram posts claiming that Black Bear actually stole his style. This is where the timeline gets a little bit confused because Lil Peep's song Liar is apparently a diss track aimed at Black Bear, and apparently a music video for this song was actually being filmed as far back as 2016, so it's kind of hard to say really when this broke out. But what we do know is the public Twitter and Instagram beef that broke out between the two happened in the final few days of Peep's life, once again proving that Peep probably wasn't himself in those final few days. And if that's all there was to the beef, we probably wouldn't even be talking about it right now because it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's what happened after Peep's passing that actually made this a whole lot worse because Bear actually decided to continue to diss Peep after his passing. Because soon after the fact, Bear actually appeared in an interview where he just randomly brought up Lil Peep. He wasn't even asked a question about him or anything, where he then attempted to flip the script on Peep, saying that he was actually a copycat of Black Bear.
Just a little disrespectful, man. That he would come to me acting like he didn't know who I was when he hit me like, hey, 2015,
sure.
16.
But with him gone now?
And then I shaved my head a week later. He shaved his head. I dyed my hair pink. He dyed his hair pink a week later. I break up with Bella Thorne. He's with Bella Thorne the next week.
And this interview was so poorly received by Peep fans that it actually ended up getting taken down. And unfortunately, he wasn't the only person to diss Peep after he passed away. Now, the rest of these beefs, there's not a whole lot of information about them, so I'm sorry if I get anything wrong. We tried to find everything we could on the subject and get it completely correct, but if there's anything wrong, feel free to point it out in the comments below. Next one we have is It's Okay to Cry. Cry was a big fan of Peep in 2015, and the two eventually were able to connect through their mutual connections to Young Goth, appearing together in a group called Heartbreak Club. Eventually even ended up moving into a house together where they made music, dropping 4 whole songs, but it all came to an end suddenly when Peep and Goth would move to LA in the middle of the night without telling It's Okay to Cry. There's some speculation that this actually happened because Young Goth and It's Okay to Cry had issues, and then Goth convinced Peep to just move out of the blue without telling anybody that it was going to happen. Either way, this put Cry in a really bad situation, and he wasn't able to pay his rent, leading him to become homeless for a couple months afterwards. Cry then tweeted about the situation, dissing both Goth and Peep, and it's uncertain if the two ever ended up making up before his death. Next up we got Lil Xan, and this is a pretty stupid one where Lil Peep decided to tweet out that he pooped out Lil Xan, as well as saying that he was Big Xan. This was probably just a joke, but it's also possible that Peep was a little bit jealous of Lil Xan having his breakout song Betrayed when Lil Peep was actually grinding for years and Lil Xan was only doing music for about 6 months. That's just speculation though, because the tweet came out really late in Lil Peep's life, so of course nothing really came of it. Seems like maybe Xan took this seriously though, because when he made his tribute post to Peep, he actually mentioned that Peep didn't like him very much, and funnily enough, a little bit of drama came from that too, because for some reason Xan actually decided to Photoshop himself beside Peep, and a lot of his fans weren't very happy about that. Next up we got Russ, and it's kind of uncertain if this was really meant to be a diss at Peep, but after Peep's passing, he decided to wear a shirt that said, "How much Xans and lean do you have to do before you realize you're a fucking loser?" And he also tweeted this the day after Peep's passing. He basically decided to go on a big anti-drug tirade the day after Peep's passing, which I do understand what he was trying to get at, but he definitely went about it in a very stupid way. This made a lot of Lil Peep's fans as well as his friends upset, including Fat Nick, Smoke Perp, and Lil Pump, which funnily enough, those are 3 rappers that are very heavy into drugs, so maybe it wasn't so much about Lil Peep. And even Anthony Anthony Fantano came out against Russ, which kind of led to the whole narrative of Russ being a complete loser that went on in hip-hop for a couple years after this situation. But this isn't the many beefs of Russ, so let's move on. The next beef we got is Lil Peep versus Bones. So as we know, Lil Peep worked with a couple members of Sesh All the Water Boys early on in his career, as well as taking quite a bit of influence from Bones. Their supposed beef broke out when Bones tweeted something saying that corny rappers needed to stop calling themselves rock stars. Now it's not certain if this is actually aimed at Peep, but a lot of his fans thought that it was. After Peep's passing, Bones didn't really say anything about the situation, leading many of Peep's fans to think that he was actually low-key disrespecting him. Bones would then tweet a somewhat passive-aggressive tweet paying respects to Peep. Tupor also mentioned in an interview that Peep wouldn't let her listen to Bones, but who knows if that's true or just some BS she made up. There was a minor situation between Peep and Puya where the two basically ended up creating a song together that never dropped. Puya said it was a mutual decision and Peep said that it wasn't. Peep wasn't too happy about this. He tweeted at Puya a couple times and nothing really came of it. Which leads us to our final beef, Black Cray. Now this situation is more of a beef between Lil Tracy and Black Cray, but Lil Peep was drug into it. Just like Bones, Black Cray is also an inspiration to Peep and Tracy, and he also worked with Tracy and Cold Heart in the past. Created one track with Cold Heart called Emo Kid, as well as another one with Tracy called Goth Ritual. He also worked pretty closely with the Thrax House for a couple years, but once it became the Goth Boy Clique and started gaining traction, he noticed how big they were getting and accused them of ripping off his own group, Goth Money Records. And this is when Black Cray decided to drop a diss track on Lil Peep and Tracy called Banned for Life, which many fans renamed to Fuck Lil Tracy and Fuck Lil Peep. Tracy saw this, he lashed out on a live stream saying fuck Black Cray. It seems like they were able to squash things behind the scenes because in 2018 the two were back to being on good terms, and in 2023 they actually even dropped a video together on Lyrical Lemonade. It's hard to say if Black Cray and Lil Peep ever made up. Maybe Black Cray decided to drop it after Peep's passing. It's hard to say, but for now we just don't know. With that said, that is the end of the Lil Peep beefs. If there's any more, leave them in the comments below. That's just the ones I know of. I think I got pretty deep into it, and I don't think Peep had a lot of issues with people during his life, but maybe I'm wrong. Make sure to leave your opinions on these beefs in the comments below, as well as leaving some knife emojis if you're part of Knife Gang, or you can just say fuck Young Goth if you want. That would be cool too. We can just get a whole comment section saying fuck Young Goth. Also, if you want to subscribe, that'd be cool. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could help me out with that, that'd be really cool. I got an Instagram where I do a lot of stuff that's cool. I got a Discord server where I talk to a lot of people about a lot of different rap topics. Big shout out to Too Busy Balling once again. He helped me with this. If you want to help me with a further video, then join my Discord server and we can talk about it. And last of all, just thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and I have a second channel where I do interviews, so hit me on there too. Bye.